This is my new baby kitten. Oh, she's like, I don't want to be filmed. Her name is Gretel. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to continue a series that has kind of become popular without me really meaning it to. But I'm going to be focusing more on my channel, teaching you guys about deity worship. So I'll continue doing goddess spotlights, and I'm going to start doing god spotlights also about different deities. I've already done Lilith and Hecate, so if you haven't seen those, check those out. But in addition to making videos about specific deities and about specific gods and goddesses and energetic beings that you can work with, I'm also going to be posting videos like this that are more about general god, goddess, deity worship. So you can not only learn about specific gods and goddesses, but also learn about how you work with gods and goddesses and how you work with deities and beings overall. I would also like to say I'm so sorry for being kind of MIA for a couple weeks. As the new year started, I had a lot of deadlines with my film. So I was working a lot and I didn't have a lot of time to sit down and film a video. I was also just kind of going through a transition period as we entered this new year, kind of reevaluating my priorities and my goals and just what I want to do and what makes me happy. So I was just kind of reevaluating things. And now I'm back, and I will be posting more consistently here on my channel, so subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. I'm going to be posting every single week, sometimes twice a week, hopefully, and I do take requests, so if you have any gods or goddesses that you really want to know about, or any questions about deity worship, leave those in the comments, and I will make videos answering those questions. Y'all. Glenny. Glenn! Stop being disrespectful. I'm filming a video. Excuse me. The level of disrespect. Glenny. So today, in keeping with our theme of deity worship, I'm going to be talking about invoking and evoking. Invoking and evoking are a big part of worshiping any kind of energetic being, whether it's an angel, a spirit guide, a deity, a god, or a goddess. No matter who it is, invoking and evoking is something that you'll do no matter what with the worship of that being. And invoking and evoking are often confused with each other. A lot of people only know invoking and they don't know evoking, and they think that invoking is something that it's not. So there's a lot of confusion around these two words in this topic. There's a lot of misinformation, especially on the internet with this. I've seen a lot of misinformation about invoking on Tumblr, especially on TikTok. I can make a whole video about how upsetting, just infuriating witch talk is. Do not get any of your information from witch talk. Maybe I'll make a video about it at some point because I could really go on and on. But there's a lot of misinformation out there about invoking. A lot of people don't even use the word evoking, and they only use invoking as if it's synonymous for both, which is not true. They're very different things and they're used for different things. So because there's so much misinformation about this topic, and because I've been talking with you all so much about deity worship, I wanted to explain more about invoking and evoking, the differences between the two, when you do which one. So let's get into talking about invoking and evoking. So invoking and evoking both mean to call. So with invoking and evoking, you're calling on some kind of energetic being, and depending on whether you invoke or evoke, you're calling on them for different purposes and to do different things. These cats make me lose my train of thought. Don't eat my feathers, sir. Caught red-handed on camera eating the feathers. I knew it was you. I knew it was him eating my feathers. So with invoking and evoking, you're calling on different kinds of energetic beings. So you can invoke or evoke angels, spirit guides, ancestors, past selves, gods, goddesses, any kind of energetic being that has a name or an identity can be invoked or evoked. Sir, he's just putting everything in his mouth. Like, oh my god. I really hope you guys could see that. He picked the pine cone up in his mouth. Can I film, please? You're being really distracting. Hello, say hello to the people. This is Giles Hercules. Where was I? I swear to God, I'm never gonna get this video filmed because these cats are so distracting. So you can also invoke or evoke the elements or the directions. So let's talk more about what invoking is and what evoking is. So evoking is often confused with invoking. People usually think that evoking is invoking. To evoke something means to call forth. So when you're evoking something, you are asking that thing to come forward and be present. So you do this when you're wanting a certain energetic being to be present for your ritual or for your spell or for whatever you're doing. This does not allow the being to enter your energetic space. It doesn't allow the being to possess you or enter your spiritual body. This just simply calls on the deity, angel, spirit guide, past self, ancestor, element, direction, whatever it is you're calling on, you're evoking. It just invites them to be present. It says, hello, I'm calling on you to please come over and spend this time with me during this ritual, during this spell, during this healing session, during this shadow work, whatever it is. You're calling on this being to just be with you. So evoking means to call forth, and invoking means to call upon. So when you invoke something, you are signing up for a voluntary possession. And that sounds really scary. Those are like scary words. People hear the word possession and they panic. But don't think of the word possession as what you see in media, or what you've been fed by the idea of good and evil. Think of possession as more so just an energetic being entering your spiritual body with your consent. It's not this big scary thing where you lose all your free will and you're not in your body and some being is just living through you, controlling you. It's not like that. It's voluntary, and because it's voluntary, you end it when you want to end it. You're not completely out of the driver's seat when you invoke a deity or a being. You're always in control. It's completely voluntary, so it's not scary. So when you invoke something, you're inviting that deity or energetic being to enter your spiritual and energetic body. You're inviting them to move through you, to work through you. So with an evoking, you're simply asking that being to be present. But with an invoking, you're asking that being to be a little bit more involved because you're asking them to enter your energetic body and work through you directly. So because of the nature of these two things, evoking is more basic, more simple, more straightforward, and invoking is simple, but it's a little bit more advanced. And invoking is just slightly more advanced simply because it takes more energy, it takes more experience, and it takes more of a built-up relationship with whatever energetic being you're asking to be invoked. Evoking is more of a baseline request. It's not too intense of a request. You don't have to know the energetic being that you're calling on, evoking that well, to get a positive response and get them to show up. But invoking is a little bit more involved. You have to, usually to get a yes from a deity or an entity or an energetic being, when you're trying to invoke them, you have to know them much more and have more of a relationship with them. And this just makes sense because it's like anything. You can't invite someone to your house and to your ritual space if you don't know them. They might say no. They might say, I don't know you, I'm not coming. And when you make a request like, please enter my energetic body, and speak and move and act through me during this ritual or during this spell or during this ceremony, that's a much bigger request. So it is possible when invoking and evoking beings that you will get a no. And don't worry if you get a no. It's not that unusual to get the occasional no. And this can be for a lot of reasons. And you really have to discern yourself when you get a no, why you got that no. Think about who you're calling on, why you were calling on them, what your intention was. Think about if your intention was unclear, or maybe you don't have a relationship with that being or that deity, so they rejected you because they were like, I don't know you, I'm not going to do this with you. Maybe you've done something recently to harm your relationship with that deity or that being. Maybe you went back on a request or a promise that you made them. Maybe you've been slacking on offerings to them lately. Maybe you haven't spoken to them or done any kind of ritual or divination or spiritual work with them in a while, and so they're kind of giving you the cold shoulder because they're annoyed with you. Or maybe your deity is just kind of a moody deity, and they don't always say yes because they're moody, and it has nothing to do with you. So there can be a lot of reasons for getting a no. You don't need to panic when you get a no. Everybody gets a no every now and then. Spirits and deities and beings of the energetic realm have ebbs and flows and moods and emotions and decisions that they get to make just like we do on the physical realm. So let's talk about when you would invoke a being versus when you would evoke. So invoking is used when you want to embody the attributes, personality traits of that energetic being. So you would invoke a deity or a being when you are wanting to experience the courage, wisdom, beauty, strength, whatever it is, of that deity within your own being. So this is a really great option when you're doing a spell or a ritual and you need to have that little bit extra oomph, that little bit extra support. So for example, if I invoked Hecate, I would be inviting all the attributes of the goddess Hecate to enter my energetic body. So I would feel all of the feelings of Hecate. Hecate would move through me and into my energetic space with my permission for the purpose of ritual or spell work. So this is slightly more advanced because you do have to have a strong relationship with that being or that deity. And it's also a little bit more of an energy suck. You have to know how to use the energy of the earth and of the world and not just of your own self, because it can be very draining to have an entity or a deity enter your energetic space. And you have to have confidence in your ability to successfully invoke a deity for it to be successful. A lot of people, when they're just starting out, they walk into a spiritual working, especially something that's a little bit more advanced like an invoking, where you're working more intensely with a deity or a being, and they're a little bit nervous. So you have to walk into it with confidence and the belief that you can control it and that it's all up to you. You're always in the driver's seat. And I'm going to make a video more about this in the future, but this kind of leads into the concept of godhead assumption. And if you don't know what godhead assumption is exactly what it sounds like. It's when a practitioner invokes a deity or a being, and they assume the role and the attributes and the actual personality of that god. That god becomes them, that god enters them and works through them. And godhead assumption is kind of a heightened form of invoking. And again, I will make a whole video on godhead assumption in the future, but that is a little bit more advanced, even more so than invoking. With invoking, you're kind of simply asking that deity to enter your energetic space and to provide you with some of the strengths and attributes that they have and that they feel, to aid you with your spiritual practice. So Godhead assumption is kind of the next step above that, where you are assuming the role of that God. So with invoking, there's still that separation of I'm me, but I've invoked this deity. So this deity is speaking through me, working through me, sending me messages through me, and really being present in my own energetic space to help me feel the attributes of that deity. So with Godhead assumption, there's no separation between self and the deity. The deity completely takes over your physical body and you become the deity, which makes it far more advanced than invoking. So that's something that we'll talk about later on. So invoking is really beneficial because, like I said, it can add a lot of strength to your spell work and your ritual. And this is also really helpful for divination. Invoking deities during divination can be so helpful in receiving clear messages during divination. And invoking a deity can be a great way to continue to build your relationship with a deity. So moving on to talking about evoking. You do evoking when you are simply wanting to invite a deity or energetic being to be present for something. So typically you would do this when you meditate. You would ask them to be present and meditate with you. You can also evoke deities to give them offering, to pray with them, to worship them. All these things where you're not necessarily asking a lot of them. You just want them to be present so you can either experience something with them or give something to them. So again, invoking is a little bit more of a tall order for that deity or that energetic being, which is why you need to have a bit more of a relationship with them. Whereas evoking is much more of a simpler request. It's more of an invitation to a gathering, and invoking is more of a, hey, will you do me this favor? And with both invoking and evoking, you can receive a lot of messages from this deity or energetic being because they're present with you. So whether they're present just in the space with you, separate from your own energetic space, or whether they're in your energetic body, you can receive a lot of messages from them. And evoking, again, just like invoking, is a really great way to build your relationship with deity and with energetic beings. I would say if you're just starting out with a deity, evoking them frequently on a regular basis, especially at the beginning, can really help to quickly speed your relationship along and get you to feeling more connected and closer, and make that deity feel more assured that you're serious about working with them and that you're willing to spend time with them. Because again, evoking is usually what you do when you're wanting to give something to a deity, like an offering, or pray with a deity, or worship a deity. So usually evoking is more for the deity and for your relationship with the deity, where invoking is more to benefit you because you're asking the deity to help you with something. You're asking them to enter your energetic space so that you can feel more of how they feel. So that is all about invoking and evoking. I hope that this made sense and that it was helpful. I hope that this helps to enhance your practice with all your deities and your spirit guides, any angels that you work with or ancestors. And remember, you can do this with your own past selves. So that can be really beneficial and healing to call on your past lives that you're aware of. Call on that past self to be with you and present. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll be uploading every single week, sometimes multiple times a week, and I do take requests, so leave your requests down in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Blessed be.